Help me reach 7,000 subscribers. Please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback helps make the content better. I pulled into the driveway after 10, headlights sweeping over the maple I keep meaning to trim. Kitchen window was warm. Inside, the house smelled like roasted chicken and rosemary. Jenna leaned on the counter in that soft blue sweater, hair tied back, wine breathing on the table. Long day? She asked, already plating. 2 crews short. City permits moved the goalposts again, I said, hanging my jacket. You're a sight. She smiled. Sit. You need food, not speeches. I sat. She slid the plate over, kissed the top of my head like a habit she never forgets. Perfect. The place looked like a catalog, music low, her little chalkboard note by the coffee machine. You've got this. I chewed, looked at her across the table, and thought, everything's so perfect it almost feels like a trick. Out loud I said, you make it too easy to work late. That's the idea, she answered, topping off my glass. Eat. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have cut that dinner short. She asked about the guys on my crew, teased me about my phone wallpaper still being a picture from last summer. I threw a roll of foil toward the recycle bin, hit the rim, and missed. Close, she said, and bumped my shoulder. You're still getting dessert. I had no reason to doubt a single thing. And then the next morning, a Tuesday, an older woman in a denim jacket sat down at my table in a diner I use for contractor meetings and changed the story. She looked like someone who knew where everything lived in a kitchen and didn't have time for nonsense. You must be Daniel, she said. I'm Emily. Do I know you? I set down my coffee. She placed a phone on the formica. Photos. My wife walking down a sidewalk, hand in hand with a man in a gray blazer. Same 2 at a restaurant across town. Same 2 at the entrance of a roadside motel, baseball cap pulled low on him. Jenna in that same blue sweater. My first thought wasn't rage. It was math. Time, places, logistics. Then I looked at Emily. Why show me? Because I like clean endings, she said. I could just leave my husband and pretend I didn't know your side of it. But it isn't right that you walk around thinking you're living one life when you're living another. I want a joint strike. Same day. No drama. Proof on paper. We both file. And what's in it for you besides clean? Leverage. He won't talk his way out of it if I come in with you. Also, you deserve to know. I'm not asking you to join a club. I want this finished. I looked at the pictures again. Jenna's hand on the guy's arm. The way she angled her head. I knew that angle. For a second, I tasted rosemary from last night and my mouth went dry. His name? I asked. Mark. She took a breath like she'd rehearsed not to cry and decided not to. He runs regional sales. Charms everyone until the check arrives. Where and when? I asked. She slid an envelope across. Inside, copies, dates, a simple timeline. You and I walk into the same office today. We sign. I'm not sticking around to be the last to know again. I'd rather be first to act. Why not go straight home and blow it up yourself? She met my eyes. Because I want to look at him with no doubt that he has nowhere to pivot. If you're there, he can't pretend it's a misunderstanding. Same for your wife. I nodded. Okay. She blinked. Okay. I'm not in the market for speeches either. We'll file. Today. We did. Clean. The clerk stamped our forms like it was Tuesday, which it was, and handed us the carbon copies. Emily left with a nod. No hug. No collapse. I walked out into the noon glare and made a list on my phone. Personal accounts, work schedule, guest room, passwords, safe. At 5, I texted Jenna, running late. Save me a plate. Then I turned my attention where it belonged, to the next move. That night the chicken was lemon, not rosemary. Jenna set out candles like she was auditioning for a magazine. You look tired, she said. I ran you a bath. Thanks. I washed my hands, dried them on the striped towel she insists on 4 hands only. I ate. She poured. Routine. Halfway through, she tilted her head. You're quiet. Counting hours, I said. I'm shifting my schedule starting tomorrow. Earlier starts, earlier nights. New bid went through. I'll be home by 6 most days. Her face brightened. Really? That's great. Also, I added, taking a sip, I need my own workspace. Guest room becomes an office. No more shared laptop. No shared calendar. I'll split expenses out. Cleaner for both of us. You keep the household budget. I'll handle my stuff. Less friction. Jenna looked at the candles. Since when do we do less friction? We plan together. We still will. Just without cross wires, I said, and kept my voice even. I'm done with the late nights. New rules. She took a beat. Is everything okay? Everything's organized, I said. She nodded, too casual. Okay, if that's what you need. I cleaned my plate, rinsed it myself, set it in the rack. On my way past the living room, I saw her phone face down on the couch arm. Ordinary. Innocent. Emily's envelope in my glove box said otherwise. At 9:15, Jenna patted in with a folded t-shirt for me. They pushed your site visit to Thursday, right? We can do dinner with Jess tomorrow. I'm skipping midweek socials for a while, I said. You go? I'm pulling my hours forward. She stood there, smiling like nothing happened. I can cancel. I'll stay. Live your life, I said. I'll be in the office. She came closer, traced a finger along my forearm like she was smoothing an invisible wrinkle. I miss you, you know. The early mornings sound nice. I looked at her. They will be. That was the first shift. I moved first. She adjusted her face. The next day, she left a note by my coffee. Proud of you. Dinner Friday. On Thursday, she texted at 5. Pick up milk? It was all normal. Until it wasn't. Scene change came fast that week. Friday after work, I stopped by Mike's garage to get my brakes checked. Malik, who runs it, waved me over. Man, you look like you won an argument no one knows about. Just getting my house in order. He laughed. About time you retired late night hammering. You got that lead foreman job locked, right? Benefits. Locked, I said. Back home, Jenna came in with grocery bags, cheeks flushed like she'd sprinted across the parking lot. Hey you, she said breathy. I got your favorite chips. Movie night. We'll see, I said. I need to finish the bid review. Her eyes widened. Tonight? It's Friday. Early start, early finish. We agreed. She set the bags down harder than chips require. We agreed? You told me. I informed you, I said. I'm not asking permission to manage my work. She stared at me for a beat, then smoothed her hair. You're right. I'm sorry. It's been a week. I nodded. Illusion 1. Gentle apology, small compromise. She lit a candle and made popcorn that I didn't eat. When I came out of the office at 9, she was asleep on the couch under a blanket, phone open on her chest to a recipe. I draped the blanket up over her shoulder and noted, purely as a project manager would, that she didn't flinch. The next swing was Sunday at brunch at our neighbor's place. The sort of suburban table where there's a fruit salad no one touches and a guy in a polo shirt explaining real estate like he invented roofs. Jenna squeezed my knee under the table when I scooped scrambled eggs. That affectionate micro-gesture I'd always liked. Jess, her friend, the one who takes pictures of avocado toast like it's a hobby, leaned over to Jenna. You're practically a saint, she said, not quite whispering. He's gone all the time. I don't know how you do it. Jenna's laugh was easy. He loves his work, she said. Then to me, lighter, right Dan? Nothing stands between you and a job site. The table chuckled. I set my fork down. I like finishing what I start, I said. Starting next week, I'm done by 6. New plan. So if anyone's been waiting to book me for Tuesday nights, speak now. Jess smirked. Listen to him. Look at that open calendar. I raised an eyebrow. Open calendar has rules. If people speak about me like I'm furniture, the booking gets canceled. The neighbor's husband coughed into his mimosa. Jess bristled. Jenna shot me a look that said, not here. I kept my voice polite. I'm serious. I work. I come home. I don't explain myself to your friend like I'm an appliance. Jess rolled her eyes. Wow. Sensitive. I'm precise, I said. You do PR, Jess. You know how tone works. The table quieted. Jenna shifted in her seat, smile pinned in place. Later, while we brought plates inside, she hissed under her breath. You embarrassed me. You invited it, I answered. Fix it. She stared. Fix it. Next time someone makes my time a punchline, you shut it down. That was your job, not mine. She opened her mouth and then closed it, carrying the plates to the sink. Action met consequence. That was the second initiative, and I said it in her space, not mine. That night, she did something I hadn't seen in months. She took my hand as we walked up the stairs. Simple, understated. You were right today, she said low. Jess is loud. I should have cut it off. Noted, I said. I didn't swing the door wide open. I just didn't lock it. Illusion 2 was queued up. Monday, Jenna left me a text around lunch. Thinking of you. Dinner's on me tonight. No friends. Just us. I read it and did my site walkthrough. When I came home, she had a small steak resting under foil and the good plates out. Her hair was down. She asked about Malik. She asked about the bid. She poured half a glass of red and didn't top it off. It felt like a reset. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. Solid presentation. No substance. The next morning, the midterm arrived disguised as care. I called your dentist, she said while packing a salad for me in a container I didn't ask for. They had a cancellation. Wednesday at 3. Appreciate it, I said. Don't call my doctors. I was helping. Boundary, I answered. No third-party management. It's a dentist, she said, almost laughing. Today it's a dentist. Tomorrow it's my travel. Stop. She backed off with a gentle okay and a small shrug. I logged it. Another simple, polite fence line installed. I didn't know it then, but every time I put a line in the ground, she tested an exit route. I could almost hear the wheels turning when she went quiet. Work on plan B. Keep Plana warm. Tuesday early afternoon, Emily texted me for the first time since the clerk's office. He booked a midtown hotel tonight. Same baseball cap. 7:30. I stared at the message for a long second. The impulse to storm a lobby is how bad decisions get made. Instead, I left my office door open and called Jenna from the driveway where she could hear traffic. I'll be late. Pulling overtime to punch through a deadline. Don't wait up. Okay, she said, a little too cheerfully. Be safe. I'm always safe, I said. Then I drove to the west side and parked a block away from the midtown hotel Emily had mentioned. I didn't go in. I didn't need to. I sat there with the radio off and texted Emily back. We do it tomorrow. 7 sharp at my place. She sent a thumbs up. No punctuation. I got home at 9:40. Jenna had a movie paused on the opening credits. You made it, she said. I kept it warm. You didn't have to, I said, and dropped my keys in the ceramic bowl by the door she bought at a craft fair. She turned toward me, all soft with concern. You okay? I'm good. She walked over and put her palms flat on my chest like she was counting my heartbeats. Can I get you anything? You can let me shower, I said, dry, and bumped past her toward the stairs. My phone buzzed, Malik asking about a shipment, and I used the pretext to step into the guest room and move a small fireproof lockbox into the bottom of the closet. Documents, spare cash, passport. Logistics aren't romantic, but they make clean exits. Morning broke with her humming in the kitchen like a radio. She handed me a coffee in the traveler mug. Text me if you need anything, she said. I'll be around. Will do. I kissed her cheek. She smiled like the surface of a lake. By lunch, I had the safe contents distributed. One set in the truck, one lockbox at the shop office, one in the guest room where she wouldn't look because she thinks it's where my old college trophies live. I also emailed our mortgage statements to myself and moved my direct deposit to a separate account. This wasn't vengeance. It was clean accounting. At 5:55, I texted Emily, 5 minutes out. Park by the Maple. She knocked at 7 on the dot. Denim jacket again. I opened the door and stepped aside. Emily, I said, like we meet for coffee every Tuesday. Jenna came around the corner, dish towel in hand. She froze. Who is this? I didn't raise my voice. Jenna, meet Emily. She's Mark's wife. The towel slipped from her hand to the floor. What? What kind of joke is this? Emily's face stayed neutral. I'll keep it short, she said, like she was at a business meeting. Your weeknights aren't exactly hard to follow. Jenna's eyes cut to me. Dan. I gestured toward the couch like a host at a bad open house. Sit. She didn't. Explain yourself, she snapped. Wrong room, I replied. You explain yourself. She looked at Emily. I don't know you. Get out of my house. Not yet, I said, and took the envelope Emily had handed me in the entryway. Photos on the coffee table. Sidewalk hand in hand. Restaurant. Hotel. Same sweater. Same cap. Jenna's mouth opened. Closed. Those aren't, that's not. Emily didn't bother with words. She tapped dates with her finger. Tuesday. Thursday. Last Sunday. Jenna went red, then pale, then something brittle. You set me up, she said to me. I put down lines, I said. You stepped over them. Different thing. This is crazy, she said, throwing a hand toward Emily. She's unwell. These could be anyone. I'd recognize you if the room were dark, I said. Save the theater. She squared her shoulders. I don't have to listen to this. You do, actually, Emily cut in. Her voice had steel in it now. Because Mark will hear it next. Jenna spun to her. Stay out of my marriage. Emily laughed once. I'm very much in mine. That's why I'm here. Jenna looked to me for the lifeline I'd always thrown her in any social tangle. I didn't move. Dan, say something. Sure, I answered. Pack a bag. A beat of silence. You're throwing me out? She managed. You made my house a bus station, I said. Routes in and out, moving parts, schedules. We're closing the terminal. Pack a bag. You can call someone to pick you up. Not me. This isn't fair. Fair would have been a choice, I said. You made one. Now I'm making one. She started crying, but it was the loud kind that demands attention, not the quiet kind that apologizes. I didn't move. Emily didn't either. Jenna tried the next tactic. I can explain. We were, it wasn't. Don't use past tense, I said. You had dinner here last night, in a hotel Tuesday. That covers present. You've been gone, she tried, voice sharpening. Always at work. I was lonely. Emily's eyebrows went up a fraction. And your solution was community outreach. Jenna snapped. You're not part of this. You made me part of it, Emily said, calm like a closing argument. By involving my husband. Pack the bag. Jenna blinked tears out of her eyes. Anger and calculation wrestling. You're attacking me in my home, she said softly, going for the victim role. Dan, this is ugly. Ask her to leave so we can talk like adults. I shook my head. Talk time's done, I said. We act now. I pulled a manila folder from the credenza and laid it next to the photos. She stared at the top page like it was written in another language. What is this? She whispered. Papers, I said. Already filed. All that's left is your signature and your key on the hook. Her voice squeaked, a thing I'd never heard. You today? You filed today. This afternoon, I answered. I'm done feeding the plant while someone else cuts the ribbon. She looked at Emily again, hate flashing through the sadness. You did this. No, Emily said, and her voice finally cracked with something honest. You and Mark did this. We just stopped pretending. Jenna saw it then. The room went still. She took a step back, then another, then bolted for the hallway. I heard drawers yank open. Closet doors slam. I didn't chase her. I walked to the front door and stood there with my hand on the jamb. When she came back with a duffel, her eyes were on fire. You will regret this, she said low. I don't do regret, I said. I do schedules. She shouldered by me. On the porch, I remembered one last thing. Almost forgot, I said, reaching into the folder and pulling out a yellow sticky on a business card. My attorney's number is on there. He's available tomorrow morning. Keep the keys. You won't need them. She stared at the card like it might bite her, then snatched it and walked down the steps. No looking back. Emily exhaled, a sharp, final sound. That was worse than I pictured. Cleaner than most, I said, closing the door. My hands were steady. We stood there a second, the quiet of the house changing its shape. Then she smiled without warmth. Want to go make a mess at my place? I'll drive, I said. We did. Her living room had boxes stacked neatly. She was already sorting her life. We walked in on Mark halfway through a glass of whiskey, baseball cap on the table like a trophy. He looked at me, then at Emily, and went pale. What is this? Emily set photos on his coffee table like coasters. An update. I can explain, he started. You can sign, she replied. He looked to me for brotherhood, like men in sports bars owe each other something. I adjusted my jacket sleeve. No speeches. Emily didn't shout. She didn't cry. She moved through her house like a contractor marking walls with blue tape. You'll leave tonight. Take the overnight bag you keep in the trunk. We'll arrange the rest with a mediator. You can't kick me out of my own. Correction, she said. Our house. You can leave, or the neighbors will watch you leave. Your call. He looked at me again. You brought him here. I brought consequences, Emily said. He glanced at the photos, at the dates, at the baseball cap, at his own reflection in the dark TV screen. He grabbed his keys and a thin coat. No dare. No aria. Just exit. When the door shut, Emily finally sagged into a chair like she'd allowed herself to hear her own heartbeat. I want this day over. It is, I said. The heavy part, anyway. She looked up at me, eyes tired but clear. Thank you. I didn't do you a favor, I said. I did me one. They just lined up. She stood. Then I'll say you're efficient. I nodded. That's the nicest thing anyone said to me this week. She snorted. Don't get sentimental. We still have to divide the air fryer. We laughed. It wasn't giddy. It was relief with edges. I texted Malik and Tony and a couple of the guys. I'm single. Bring chips. Emily texted 2 friends. We met at a bar with a patio behind it where the air smells like fry oil and old stories. We didn't make speeches. We raised a glass to clean cuts and left it there. Tony, who usually clowns, put a hand on my shoulder and squeezed once. About time you stopped making everyone else comfortable, he said. Emily's friend Nora sized me up like a bouncer and then smiled. He'll live, she told Emily. You will too. Emily and I didn't pretend it was a date. We talked about our dad's tools, about the first apartment we'd each had, about why neither of us understands scented soap collections. We didn't talk about Jenna or Mark. Not a single word. At the end of the night, I walked her to her car and we both paused. That human moment where you check if you're about to force something you shouldn't. We'll figure it out, she said. Slow is fine, I replied. Fast is out, she agreed, smiling. We didn't kiss. We didn't need to. After Jenna left, the house got quieter in a different way. I slept hard. In the morning, I moved her coffee mugs out of the cabinet and boxed them for pickup. I changed the guest room into an actual office like I'd said, mounted a whiteboard, put a small plant by the window because the contractor in me appreciates a living thing that doesn't talk. Jenna texted twice over the next few days. The first was a long paragraph. I didn't read all of it. The second said, "Can we meet?" I made a mistake. I replied with a single sentence. Sign the papers. Jess posted a quote on social media about narratives, like she moonlights as a philosopher. I muted her. Work became simple again. I left at 6 like I promised myself. I took Saturdays to play pickup basketball with Malik and Tony. On Sundays, I'd grill at home and invite whoever wanted to eat early. Emily started coming by after her runs. She'd bring salad I actually liked and tell me about teaching herself how to tile a backsplash from videos. I'd show her how to use a laser level without reinventing gravity. 3 weeks in, she called me from a hardware store aisle. Do I need the pre-mixed bucket, or is that a trap? Always a trap, I said. Get the bag, mix it yourself. You enjoy being right too much, she accused. I enjoy being exact, I corrected. Same energy, she said, and hung up. We didn't rush into anything. We didn't label it. We learned each other like normal people. What time we wander the kitchen at night, what we do with our keys, which TV shows we actually sit through, and which ones we pretend to for the other person. She told me she collects old postcards because she likes other people's ordinary days. I told her I keep every warranty in a bin and update it annually because chaos is not an aesthetic I enjoy. Meanwhile, Jenna disappeared from the neighborhood. Word from a mutual acquaintance was that she'd moved 2 cities over. Mark didn't follow. He went quiet, then loud online, then quiet again. Their crowd, the ones who liked double-date photos and brunches with captions, found it awkward to keep inviting her to things once the story was out where stories live, between people. A few reached out to me with a "You okay?" I answered, better than okay. They either nodded or changed the subject. A month later, Malik tossed me a set of keys in the shop office. What's this? Finished your truck, he said. Also, I found you a deal on the cabin you were eyeing by the lake. Listing was soft. They caved on price. I gave them your number. I stared at him. You're the devil. I'm helpful, he corrected. I bought that cabin. It's 2 hours north, woods on one side, water on the other, a small porch where you can hear the afternoon roll in. I fixed the steps, sealed the deck, replaced a rattling fan. Emily came up that first weekend with a cooler and practical shoes. We installed shelves and ate takeout on the porch railing. At night, we sat with blankets and listened to the frogs. When the air cooled down, she leaned her shoulder into mine like she knew right where to settle. Not a bad ending, she said. Not an ending, I answered. A triage done right. Always the foreman, she teased. Always, I agreed. It pays the bills. One quiet morning, I got a single message from an unknown number I recognized. Jenna, I'm leaving town, it said. Don't worry. I won't be a problem. I didn't feel triumph. I felt stillness. People imagine fireworks. They don't realize that the best sound in the world can be nothing. I texted Emily. Come by the house. I made pancakes that came out like actual pancakes. You and your precision, she replied. On my way. She pulled into the driveway in running shoes and a faded baseball cap. I handed her a plate, and we ate on the back steps. The lemon tree she bought me for the kitchen window sat in the sun on the sill. She held up her fork. "To clean endings," she said. "To clean starts," I corrected, and we both laughed like it was a private joke. There are people who think staying is noble. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's lazy. I stayed as long as it was respect. The second it wasn't, I cut clean. No shouting. No late-night speeches. Just actions that match the words. I lost a housemate who turned our home into a waiting room. I gained quiet, order, and a woman who asks about grout mix and means it. When guys ask me, "How'd you do it?" I tell them the same thing. I moved first. I set rules. I didn't explain them 14 times. I enforced them once. Then I walked. We had a celebration that night, sure. Friends, chips, the patio behind the bar, laughter that didn't come from crushing anyone. That wasn't the victory. The victory is waking up and realizing no one is managing me but me. The victory is a truck with new brakes, a cabin where the door closes clean, a house that smells like coffee because that's what's in the kitchen, not perfume covering a story I'm not in on. Jenna lives elsewhere now. I hear she tried to land where she thought she was headed and found out there wasn't room. That's not my problem. I don't hate her. I don't particularly think about her at all. Emily and I went slow until slow turned into steady. We started running early on Saturdays, her pace, not mine. She came to a couple of my guys' weekend barbecues and held her own when Tony teased her about her denim jacket becoming a uniform. "It's armor," she told him, "and it has pockets." She's good with people. She also knows how to leave a room when it turns stupid. Last week, we drove out to the cabin for the fall colors. I changed the filter on the heat pump. She painted the windowsills. When we finished, she sat cross-legged on the floor, looked around, and said, "We did this." "Yep. No speeches," she said, grinning. "No speeches," I agreed. I don't owe anyone a moral. But if I had to pin one to the board, it'd be this. Respect isn't an accent color you add at the end. It's the studs in the wall. If you discover the framing's wrong, you don't keep hanging pictures and hope it feels like home. You tear it open, fix it, or you walk. I walked. I slept better the first night than I had in months. People will say I planned it all like a heist. Not true. I just refused to be the last to know. Emily brought the truth to my table. I took it seriously. I set rules. I stuck to them. And when the moment came, I didn't give a speech. I opened a door and pointed. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. When I lock my truck at night and step through my own doorway, I like the sound the latch makes. It's simple. It means I'm home.